for just a moment, and we didn't even really, I didn't even think we were going to go here, but you have to explain to people that toxic thought theory and how we are really damaging our lives and our futures by dwelling on things from the past. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, you know, that's an excellent question and a great place to start. So thank you for your encouragement. I appreciate that. But basically, the first thing we need to understand is that our mind and our brain are not the same thing. So when people talk about the brain, they use the word mind and brain interchangeably, and they're not. They're separate things. So you spirit, mind, body, and your brain is part of the body function. Your brain can't do anything on its own. Your brain is just basically a very sophisticated machine, but it needs your mind to work through it. So there's a very integral relationship between the mind and the brain. So with your mind, you actually build structure into your brain. Right. You design your brain with your mind. So all day long, actually 24/7, we're processing information, all the events and circumstances of life. And we're thinking, we're feeling, and we're choosing around all these events and circumstances. These are signals that we're taking in through the events and circumstances into our brain, but our mind is doing the work. So if you're not alive, there's no mind working through the brain. So your mind is actually doing the work of processing, thinking, feeling, choosing. And as we do that, that causes a structural change, because the physical and the mental are working, the mind and the brain are working together. So the thoughts are actually real things that occupy mental real estate, which is quite interesting. So as you're thinking, feeling, and choosing, you're causing genetic expression and you're building thoughts. So thoughts are real things made of proteins that you and I design. We're always in a genesis moment. We're creating our realities, and we also, from the science, I mean, this is just a quick run through, like tons of stuff there, but basically from the science we understand as well that we're wired for love. So there's no one part of our brain that produces anything, which is what the science tries to, you know, the neurocentric approach, reductionistic approach tries to say. What you mentioned about the amygdala. The amygdala is an emotional library, and that it can't produce anything. It's actually, and this is what a lot of scientists will try and tell us, that your brain made you do it. Your brain can't make you do anything. You do it. The responsibility lies with us. Our brain just responds to whatever emotion, whatever thought, and thoughts are real things, and our brain is wired for love. Literally, there is not a protein, a structure, or anything that is designed to handle anything toxic. So, which makes sense. I mean, we're made in the image of God. God is good. God is goodness. We're made from goodness, and we can go down that road, and maybe in one of the other books I talk more about what that means, what love is. But essentially, when you make a good choice, you operate in your healthy, natural, normal design. So your brain builds health. But when you make a toxic choice, so when you choose to get irritated or frustrated or anxious or worried or jealous or whatever, all the toxic stuff, you are wiring that into your brain. You are creating matter out of mind. And because that goes against your natural wired for love alignment, it causes brain damage. So that's the most simple answer. We get brain damage from wrong thinking. We damage our own brains, which we can fix.
I wish that we could see a picture of the trees. You know, could you just try to paint a word picture for us of what happens when those toxic thoughts come and it changes the structure of our brain?
It literally does. So, and we're doing that. We need to take responsibility and be very aware that we design what our brain looks like. Our brain is neuroplastic, which means that your brain can change. I was working on this back in the 80s when they didn't believe the brain could change. And they told me, you know, this is not, don't go down this road. And I said, I'm going down this road because I know it's the truth. And then it is the truth. In the mid-90s, science kind of caught up with where we were. But essentially, when we think in a healthy way, all the proteins fold correctly. So I use the analogy of trees because the thoughts look like trees in the brain. There's an arbor-like structure. So when a healthy thought has a very distinct kind of look and balance with the electrical, chemical, quantum flow, structure, etc., the proteins fold in a certain way. But when we make a wrong choice, it's the wrong signal. So the proteins fold incorrectly. The electrical, chemical balance is upset. So then I use normally, if anyone's seen me teach in your audience, basically that the green tree represents healthy, and then I have a black toxic looking tree that I often use when I'm teaching that represents a toxic thought. In the brain, we see a difference. It has a different shape, it has a different kind of structure, it's kind of thicker, the electrical chemical balance is off, the quantum energy is off, so it looks different and it causes damage.
And it's amazing to me how God created us that way. He put so much power in our hands to be able to control that. Well, when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about this. I've got her on my couch for a full 30 minutes. I'm so excited. So come right back to the 3. We're here with Dr. Caroline Lee.